Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? If I asked you what has been your biggest takeaway 1 week being out there watching the Saints practice, you would say?
I would say the Saints still need another cornerback. When you're out there and you're seeing Patrick Robinson and Ken Crawley basically compete for first-team snaps, it doesn't give you a lot of confidence,
Okay.
I'd say. So it's even though Ken Crawley had an interception today off of Jameis Winston, that pass was basically a duck. And Ken Crawley was able to pick it off. But yeah, I still think that people will look at that and say, okay, I'm going to attack whoever is not Marshawn Lattimore, who's actually had a good camp. But also, you got to think about Marshawn Lattimore and prepare that he's going to be suspended at the beginning of the season. I know the Saints are thinking that that's probably going to happen. And so then what do you do? So I think that that, to me, it's still a nervousness, and it has to be for people inside the Saints building.
Is Prince Amukamara not the answer?
He is not the answer. No.
Okay.
No, look, he's been really with the third team. I don't think he's the answer. I don't think anyone that they've, someone like Brian Poole, I don't think he's the answer either. And even say someone like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, I mean, he plays a lot of nickel on the inside, and yet he has not been asked to play on the outside. He said that to me a couple of days ago. And so right now they seem to be rolling with Patrick Robinson more than anyone else. And so that's, the Saints didn't even bring him in to be an outside corner. They wanted him to play the slot because he excelled there in Philadelphia. And so you still have question marks. I mean, the fact that Sean Payton, even in camp, says it's a must, and we're looking basically outside the building because we're not totally convinced that we have the right guy inside the building yet.
Do they have options?
I mean, the trade market, but how much you wanting to give up to go get Xavier Howard? Is that even a real possibility? I mean, that's the person who you keep hearing about. So it might be just the Saints have to roll with what they have. I don't know. It's certainly you look at it and you think, oh my gosh, that is the glaring hole. I mean, you don't want Ken Crawley being your starter. I mean, he was barely on the team last year. I mean, they picked him up like mid-season just because, and the fact that we're actually bringing him back up to be a starter is probably pretty scary.
Yeah. All right. Larry Holder is our guest. One of the things that I always do like about the first couple of weeks of camp is getting a chance to see the rookies, because we have these ideas about them whenever they're drafted or signed, and then we kind of get to see it, right? Like, were our impressions actually accurate? So let's talk about some of these guys. Let's just start at the top with Peyton Turner, first-round draft pick. What have been your observations so far?
I like what I've seen from him. He's played anywhere from third team to first team. He's not getting regular reps with the first team, but he's seen some reps there. Sacks in training camp are certainly subjective, but you could argue he had a couple of them today in practice. And I've liked what I've seen from him when you get the pads on and you do the one-on-one drills, the O-line versus the D-line. And I've liked what I've seen from Peyton Turner in those too. So to me, I think it's encouraging so far what we've seen from Peyton Turner. I mean, he's a big guy. He looks the part. And he's kind of been flip-flopping on either side to kind of just get his feet under him. But I'd say so far so good for Peyton Turner.
Is he playing inside and out? Because I'm curious if they're going to use him any at tackle, kick him in.
That hasn't happened yet. I mean, that might say in passing situations once the season comes, but he's been strictly D-end so far in camp.
What about Paulson Adebo?
He had a pretty good day yesterday, a couple of pass breakups. He has been really third-team category here, but with some injuries and some changing up, he's seen a few snaps with the twos and I still think he's a long way from winning a starting job. I'm sure the Saints would hope that he would play so well that he earns the job, but we're not there yet. But he's also being elevated pretty quickly on special teams. So, you figure as a rookie third-round pick, you'd want him to play that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But, I do think, though, that, as each day has gone on, we've seen improvements from Adebo because I feel like his first couple of practices, he was still a rookie. And obviously, he still is now. But you could see he's actually improved as each day has progressed here.
One more on the defensive side. Let me ask you sort of the obvious one about linebacker. I think, Pete Werner is probably the guy. Werner and Bond are the ones that everyone's going to ask about. So with re-signing Kwon, I mean, is this one of those things where Kwon is being brought back to be the starter, or are you seeing anything encouraging from either Bond or Werner?
I would say Kwon is coming back to be the starter. I mean, that would be my thought process there. Because if Kwon was healthy, they probably would have re-signed him to a smaller deal already in the offseason, and he'd be on the team. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that he's been on the radar for a while. And if you're signing a guy like that, you're signing him to be a starter, just like when you traded for him. But right now, Pete Werner has been the leader for that job over Zach Bond. He's been playing a lot more first-team snaps than Bond, even though Bond, he sees some snaps with the ones as they're rotating them in. But if between those two, Werner would be the one who would be a starter. But look, Werner's kind of a small guy. I didn't realize that you stand him next to DeMario Davis and some of the other guys, and he does not look imposing, so I'm curious if that's the way the Saints feel. Like, he's pretty good in coverage. I like what I've seen from him in some of those areas. But look, if you're going to say, hey, Kwon Alexander or Pete Werner, I would certainly take Kwon Alexander.
Let's flip it over to the offensive side. It's amazing we're this deep into this conversation. I haven't brought up either Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, and maybe that's because there's a feeling of inevitability here. So it's a week in, but what's the feeling there with those two guys?
I mean, I think you're spot on. It's inevitability that Jameis is going to win this job. And once they got the pads on, the quarterback play has kind of gone down the last couple of days. I mean, it hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't, the Jameis was looking really good against the defense when they weren't wearing pads. And I think it's been a bit of a different story. The defense has kind of caught back up a little bit with those guys. But it's something that I'm curious just to see if/when Jameis is deemed the starter or what happens with Taysom. I mean, he did drop weight to compete for the quarterback job. Could he still probably truck a guy, if he has the ball? Sure. But, I'm just curious to see how much they use him all over the map as their kind of jack of all trades kind of guy. Off topic, I've liked what I've seen from Ian Book.
Okay.
Again, pads came on, the quarterback play has kind of come back down to earth a little bit, but I've liked what I've seen from Book. I could tell you with confidence, I've seen more good things from Ian Book in 6 days than I ever saw from Garrett Grayson. And Book was a 4th-round pick, and Grayson was a 3rd-round pick.
So would you say that Ian Book makes the team and the Saints keep 3 quarterbacks?
Oh, I think absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
I'd be shocked if they didn't.
With Mike Thomas out, where are the targets going?
Well, Deontay Harris and Traquan Smith were both out today, too. So you had your top 3 receivers are basically out. And Sean Payton did not give a timetable of when Traquan and Deontay would come back. He said it wouldn't be long-term, but what does that mean? So right now you're having wide receivers with the ones like Chris Hogan and Ty Montgomery. And, I mean, Marquez Callaway would be in there regardless, and he is. Look, Tommy Lee Lewis is seeing snaps. Kaywan Baker, their 7th-round pick, saw some first-team snaps. It is extremely slim pickings at wide receiver with the unit we saw today. And so it's this Michael Thomas thing is definitely going to hurt them. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And if Traquan Smith can't stay on the field, I mean, he's been banged up his whole career. You know, he misses time. Then what do you do? So this is this to me. I think there's more red flags here than maybe we were even saying, and we know that it's a concern right now for the Saints.
Larry Holder, theathletic.com/New Orleans. He's on Twitter at Larry Holder. Have you gotten to see Devontae Freeman yet, or any observations there? What his role might be?
He has taken a lot of snaps, like a lot, and seeing snaps with the ones. And I've liked what I've seen from him. And so you wonder, well, what is his role going to be? Because I assume he makes the team. I mean, he's looked good, and he was actually pretty good last year when he had time with the Giants. I think part of this is that they're having to play Ty Montgomery more at wide receiver, so that opens up, say, a number 3 spot for a running back. But we've seen, like I said, we've seen a ton of Devontae Freeman and not as much Latavius Murray since Devontae Freeman's gotten here. I mean, we've seen Murray get a carry here or there, a snap, but I feel like I'm seeing a heck of a lot of Devontae Freeman, so I expect that he will be part of this offense in some form or fashion.
Wow. Moose missed 2 Murray presents.
Murray present.
You missed a couple yesterday.
Murray present.
Wow. Catching up, I guess.
Murray
present.
Attaboy. Were you waiting for it when you said it, by the way?
Just now, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was just testing him.
Before you go, I'm always interested, of course, in undrafted free agents because there's always some that make the team. So who looks good right now? Who's got a shot?
Man, I'll be honest. I can't name one that's really stood out at all. Maybe they will in the next coming weeks, but I'm telling you, I haven't paid any attention to that really at all.
Is it one of those things where maybe there's one of those things where in my mind I know, like intellectually, they always keep a couple undrafted free agents, but maybe it's one of those things you just got to wait for the preseason games that roll around, and that's when those guys pop?
Yeah, I think that's fair for this class, just because you look around, and I think we're wondering if the draft picks even make the team. This year, I think draft picks, I would assume that all of them would make it. I mean, obviously we've got a ways to go, but I assume all of them will make it. And then, you've got some younger guys that maybe were practice squad guys last year that I think come back. So, yeah, I don't really have anyone, honestly, on my radar as an undrafted guy really at any position right now.
All right. For Saints camp updates, make sure you're following him on Twitter at Larry Holder. And, of course, theathletic.com/New Orleans. Great coverage there of Saints camp and all season long. Larry, we always appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us. Hope you sound a little stuffy. Hope you feel better.
Thank you. I feel fine, but I don't know. Maybe it's like an allergy. I don't know what's going on, but maybe I'll just blame Murray.
Murray, present.
All right.
He was ready for it.
Him.
Thank you, Larry.
All right. See you, buddy.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.